Hey, this is Matt once again. Welcome back to another video, and this is a paid request for Travis. Thank you so much for that. For those interested in requesting any type of videos, movie review, re-review, random thoughts, dreams, commentaries, video game playthrough for an hour, or full playthrough, tier list ranking, whatever the case may be, feel free to send it either directly to my PayPal. I do have a CashApp as well. Links are down below in the info box, and I'll get to it as soon as I possibly can. And this is for Prophecy from 1979, which I know there was a book, but I don't know. I want to say there was a book before, and then you had the movie. But I think the person behind the novel wasn't really happy with the film, or maybe it was the writer that wasn't happy. One of them was not happy with the film. I know that. I know at one point there was a book, which is a little bit different from the movie. But yeah, directed by John Frankenheimer, and it's a ecological horror film, don't mess with Mother Nature type of flick. Now, it stars Robert Foxworth, which, as I'm watching, I'm going, his voice sounds familiar. And I realized, after looking it up, you remember the Michael Bay Transformer films? There's a character named Ratchet. The voice is Robert Foxworth, the guy who's the lead here. So it's interesting watching this guy. I was like, wow, that's the guy who's going to be a voice in Michael Bay's Transformers. Who'd have thunk it? I never thought Prophecy and Transformers would be linked, but there you go. He stars as a guy pretty much working for the Environmental Protection Agency. And we see him at this rundown neighborhood trying to care for a baby that was bitten by a rat, trying to care for it. But he's kind of out of it because he knows no matter how much he tries to help, it seems like a fruitless venture. But then this guy comes up and goes, well, in Maine, there's this deal where this paper mill company and these Native Americans are fighting over this land, and there's going to be a vote. Again, it's in Maine. You go in there, you see what's going on. If there's pollution or anything, you'll be a big help one way or the other. Maybe you can make a difference. So Robert Foxworth goes to Maine with his wife, played by Talia Shire. Adrian from the Rocky films. She was in The Godfather. But I always remember her from Yo Adrian from the Rocky films. Other people recognize Richard Dysart. He was the doctor in John Carpenter's The Thing. He's the one with the paddles that gets his arms bitten off in that famous scene. He plays a guy who runs the paper mill factory. You have Armand Assante, which is weird because he's playing Native American. I'm like, okay, this guy is clearly looking and acting like Italiano, but he's supposed to be playing Native American. So I always thought that was kind of a weird, funny choice. I like Armand Assante, don't get me wrong, but he's just a weird choice for a Native American, but okay. And you know, things are intense when Richard Dysart are trying to bring Robert Foxworth and Talia Shire to where they need to go, and Armand Assante and other people are standing in their way, and one of Richard Dysart's workers and Armand Assante get into a battle where the one guy has like a fucking chainsaw ready to cut fucking Armand Assante's throat, until finally things calm down a little bit and they're able to get through. What you find out eventually is that there is mercury poisoning because of stuff in the mud, among other stuff. But because of the paper mill, there's some mercury poisoning within the mud and stuff. And it's affecting. It's affecting if you're pregnant and you drink it, more than likely your baby's going to be messed up. It affects the animals. It makes people sick who are older people. And, can make mutations. And that's what we have here. Just throughout all the stuff I said, you have like these, early on, these people like search and rescue with dogs, and some of them get killed. You have people who are in a sleeping bag. Someone comes up, hits the woman that's in the sleeping bag. She flies, and it explodes in a puff of feathers. And people are being attacked. Spoiler, although if you look at the cover, it's kind of telling. It's a mutated bear. It's a mutated bear killing people. One thing leads to another. They find these two mutated cubs caught in this net. One's dead, one's alive. They take the live one for evidence. And then on the mutated mama, they're going after their asses. And then that's the rest of the movie. Now, as is, I didn't mind it. I would say at the end of the day, I didn't mind the film. I would say if you're talking about like killer bear films, I would say I like Grizzly more. I think that one, it felt like there was more bear attacks and it had a little bit more intensity to them. Here, I think one sad thing that happened was some of the gore was cut down by John Frankenheimer's choice because he felt it to be too gratuitous. So, for example, and this might never been filmed, but then again, he might have filmed it this way. So, again, he didn't want to be gratuitous, which I think this should have been gratuitous. It should have been more gory because it would have been more fun. When the woman is hit and her in the sleeping bag, it's like a torpedo hitting a tree. It explodes, but it's just a puff of feathers, and you don't see one drop of blood. I'm like, okay, if it's like a teen girl, it's hit the tree and exploded, and feathers, you tell me not one drop of blood? For example, when Friday the 13th Part 7, The New Blood, you have the sleeping bag death. Okay, you had the one hit and then boom, dead. But there's the uncut scene where he keeps hitting and blood keeps splashing out more and more. And you can see that. I even have a copy where it's edited back in. Looks like a VHS tape, but I still watch it. It's fine with me. Or fine enough. But it's like, okay, it does look, that did seem weird that only feathers and no blood. Same with their characters get killed, but you don't see much. One character gets killed, and apparently was like the guts were falling off. That all death scene was cut. Someone like had their face screwed up, but you didn't, or maybe decapitated. Yeah, decapitated. Like the head's no longer there, but you don't see it that long. There are a few other bits here and there where they lingered a bit more, show a bit more blood. So I think that was a mistake. That was a mistake that John Frankenheimer did. Now, granted, would they have gotten it away with the rating? I don't remember what the rating was. Let me look real quick. I want to say it's PG and they cut the stuff to be an R. Let me see real quick. Prophecy. What is it rated? Yeah, PG. So I'm sure they left that in, it would have been R rated and they wanted it to be PG. Why they wanted it to be PG, I don't know. I guess to be more... I don't know. Again, all I read is that John Frankenheimer thought it was gratuitous. I'm like, well, that's what people want. It's about a mutated bear. I know it was about, environment and don't pollute and all that stuff, but still, people want to see the goods. Now, I think one of the either the writer, the author, one of the things he was mad about is that in the film is just a mutated bear. Apparently, it's supposed to be much more than that. I guess if you looked at the poster, it was supposed to look more like that creature. Instead, it just looked like a mutated bear. And yeah, if you see it, still pictures of it, does it look silly? Yes. But I'm a sucker for practical effects. I'm a sucker for these old school monster movies with these type of effects. So it looks kind of charming to me. And I mean, not every day can you say a mutated bear. And you know, it flips jeeps over, and again, someone's head gets taken. And I will admit, when the lady flew with the sleeping bag and it exploded in feathers, I did laugh. I know that's not what I'm supposed to do, but I did laugh because just the force and how big of a bit it was. But I mean, for PG, there's still some little gory, like the aftermath of the people near the beginning of the film. You see a little aftermath of some blood on their face and stuff. One person gets hit, flies off, and you see that their face has been fucked up a bit, clawed out. So some aftermath that's still decently bloody for PG, but could have been more. I think should have been more. They try to throw a few other little special effects. One of the early things they find is a giant tadpole, so they do a practical effect of that. Robert Foxworth, I thought was fine. Would I say he was amazing or fantastic or anything? No, he's definitely no Roy Scheider or Richard Dreyfuss from Jaws or Robert Shaw, or even was it Christopher George and Grizzly. He was just there. He was fine. I would say he was just fine. I'll be honest, I kind of wish Armand Assante played his part. I really do. I think Armand Assante would have been a much better choice for the lead character. Because I want to say it was New York, I could be wrong. That would fit Armand Assante more. And then get maybe a Native American guy to play the Native American guy. It's not like there's no Native American guys in 1979. I'm pretty sure there were. Even actor-wise. So, yeah, I would have really preferred Armand Assante. And I could buy him with Talia Shire more. And, like, whenever Armand Assante was on screen, well, I don't buy him as a Native American. He had that it factor. He had that look. He had that presence. There's a few times he shoots like a bow and arrow, and that should have been the lead. Either have it from the Native American point of view, if you want to have him in that, and have him be the lead, or have him in the Robert Foxworth role. I did Armand Assante, I think, was the more... Like, Robert is the lead, but my eyes are more going towards Armand Assante because of his presence. He has that star quality. And I always liked Armand Assante. I always thought he was an underrated actor that deserved better roles. It's one of the few things I like in Stallone's Judge Dredd. Who says politics are boring? And, like I said, Foxworth is fine. I would have much preferred Armand Assante as the lead. It's number one. Number two, I wish they did not cut out the gore. I think that would have helped. I think it would have even more of a bit of a cult following if it had that. I think people will love to see an uncut version, but you never will. Yeah, the stuff with the bear, they can only do what, they could. Because obviously with the bear, it's not going to move as much. And then with the makeup effects, if you show it too long, it's going to look even sillier to the viewer. Again, it wasn't too long of a movie. It went at a decent enough pace that I wasn't bored by it. I like the locations they shot it on. nice lush looking land. The other actors like Richard Dysart and Talia Shire, they did well. Talia Shire, a subplot, she's pregnant, and eventually tells Robert Foxworth later. But there's no finality to that subplot, which, for I understand, was in the book, I believe, but it wasn't in the movie. And the movie seems to end a bit abrupt, at least for me. Because spoilers. There's this big attack scene, they hide in these tunnels till the next day. Richard Dysart's like, you know what, I fucked up, I admit I fucked up, I'm gonna run for help. He tries to climb this fence, he gets killed. His death scene was supposed to be a lot longer and bloodier. I think he was the guy that you were supposed to see, like, him ripped apart or his guts fall down or stuff, but that was all cut out. The others are in a Jeep, it flips over, someone's head gets taken, gone. This old guy who's one of the people's fathers or grandfathers, I forget, father or grandfather, either way, there's a shot where he kind of gets dragged around. It looked kind of funny, I will say, the wide shot where he's like, the wide shot where the bear is like, I can't help it. Maybe just the way they shot it looked kind of funny. They go to this place. There's Armand Assante, his woman, and then Robert Foxworth and Talia Shire. And I think at this point they still have the mutated bear cub. Where Armand Assante is shooting... Well, no, before that, they hide in this shack. The bear bursts in. Now, Armand Assante's woman gets hit, but it's never shown that she's dead. And then we never see her again. So I was a bit confused as to, well, what happened to her? You would think if she died, they would show, like, an actual death scene, not... Oh! It's kind of like that, like a little piece of wood. Oh! Imagine, like, I'm in a movie and it's like, oh! And then you never see me again. It'd be like, well, did he die? Did he not die? Same with Armand Assante's woman. Did she die? Did she not die? The fact we don't know that, I think that's a bit weird, bit kind of wanty. Armand Assante shoots bows and arrows. He gets hit, flies off, or his dummy flies off. I didn't like that he got killed. I wish he was the lead and lived. Nice little gory aftermath, though, of his face clawed up. The lead, Robert Foxworth, he gets like an arrow, keeps stabbing it, stabs in the eye, blood gushes out of the eye of the bear, which I thought cool, gory, practical effect. Keeps stabbing it, kills it, and then pretty much the next scene is Robert Foxworth and Talia Shire on a plane. It flies off, and then there's another mutated bear that I guess was the dad, because it looks different. At first, they talked about this legend. I swear to God, they pronounce it catarded. I swear to God, they pronounce it catarded. I know what that sounds like, but that's how they say it. Catarded. But it's another mutated bear. I'm guessing this is the daddy. But this ending, I say it's abrupt because what happened to Armand Assante's woman? Is she alive? Is she dead? You would think there'd be some kind of authorities there. Did they bring back and show the dead body of the bear? What about the mutated bear they had? The cub? What'd they do with it? Did they give it to the authorities? Did they give it to someone else? What happened? Talia Shire's baby. Is it infected? Is it mutated? Is it not? It answers none of those questions. I think the book, there was something about they're at a hospital She loses the baby. It was mutated. They cry, of course, and he goes, "We'll try again. I promise I want to have a kid." Because the thing is that he didn't want a kid before, but now he's ready to settle down, have a kid. That was supposed to be, I guess, kind of an arc, which is never fully done in the movie, really. So it's just left up in the air in the movie. Is her baby mutated? Not mutated? It just, again, did none of the authorities know what happened? Do they know what happened? What happened to mutated bear? It's like a weird cut. It feels as if there's shit cut out of that. If they never filmed it, then that was a mistake. So, again, the ending is a bit abrupt and wanty. I wish we got to see more of the carnage that was cut out. Robert Foxworth is fine, but I would prefer Armand Assante as the lead. But it moves at a good pace. I don't mind the location of the forest and the paper mill and all that stuff. You know, I'm a sucker for monster movies, especially old school 70s, 80s monster movies. All done practical effects, no stupid CGI shit. So I'm a sucker for that. I'm a sucker for practical monster effects, even if it looks a bit silly at times. You know, a mutated bear you don't get to see every day, so at least it's something a bit more unique. Even for PG, there's still some little decent aftermath of gore here and there. Talia Shire does a good job. Armand Assante, for being not Native American, he's still got that presence, that it factor. Cool to see Richard Dysart because I liked him in John Carpenter's The Thing. Overall, I still like it. I like it for what it is. So with that said, thanks for watching, take care, and we'll see you guys in the next video. You know, in a weird way, I don't know why I think of this. This would have been cool if there was like a Kolchak movie. Like if Darren McGavin was the lead, and he's on this story about this paper mill, and he's following these people. It'd be like a cool Kolchak the Night Stalker movie. There you go, that'd be pretty cool. But anyway, I love Kolchak. Can't help it. Thanks for watching. Take care. We'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.